What does it mean to achieve mastery? Webster defines it as a display of great skill and technique. In a game like Dead by Daylight, mastery is a tough subject to define in a way in which everyone will agree with you. In a game with performance-based matchmaking, the level of skill displayed in each game will be comparatively different from the last. One game, you'll get some schmucks who play like it's their first game, and the next you'll be pitted against fucking SEAL Team 6. In its earlier days, Dead by Daylight used to have a ranking system, and the players within each rank accurately represented the skill level found within them. But that's been replaced with the Killer and Survivor grade system we know today. Now, for all you guys who continuously flex that you've hit eerie 1 grade every month, allow me to be the bearer of bad news. Grading does not accurately represent your MMR. Want proof? I'm that proof. Since I've started playing the game, I've consistently hit eerie 1 on Killer for every single month. And I am no prodigy, I'll tell you that. So, how do we achieve mastery? If MMR doesn't show it, or if grades don't show it, how can we? Luckily, there is a way. Sorta. Dead by Daylight has special achievements called Adepts. To get these achievements, you need to successfully win a trial only using your character's 3 personal perks. What DBD defines as a win is simple. For Killer, it's all 4 survivors dead, and for Survivor, it's successfully escaping the trial. Through the handful of months and the near 1,000 hours I've put into this game, I think I'm somewhat good at it, but I don't want to be just good at the game. I want to master it. And so, on January 23rd, 2026, in the middle of a live stream, I decided to embark on a quest. I was going to achieve mastery, and adept every single killer in the game live on stream. And I was going to document exactly how long it took me to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Killer Adept Gauntlet. Here were my self-imposed rules for this challenge. Rule 1, I played each killer in the order of their release. We went from Trapper, to Wraith, to Hillbilly, to Nurse, to... you get the idea. Rule number 2, I could not switch off of that killer until I had gotten the Adept achievement. Meaning, even if I had lost and I really want to play another killer, I have to get the achievement first. Rule 3, the only killer exempt from these rules is Cenobite, because I unfortunately don't have him, as I started playing a few days after he was removed from the store. And I don't have $400 to spare to buy a license key. Rest assured though, when he returns, his Adept will be completed, as well as every other killer in the game that is released afterwards. And finally, rule number 4, all attempts must be done live on stream, so there can be no doubt of any cheating or other illegitimate ways to get the achievement. This was going to be a long and difficult journey, but I am well prepared for the task. Time to master this game. As I had mentioned earlier, this idea came to me in the middle of a live stream. To be more specific, I was 3 hours deep into the stream, so I was well warmed up and ready to go, which is probably why day 1 had as good as progress as it did. Naturally, we kicked off the challenge as the Trapper. It's not a secret by any means that Trapper is among the worst killers in the game, but his perks are actually fairly solid. Agitation and Brutal Strength help a lot for a non-mobile killer, and Unnerving Presence is fine, I suppose. Occasionally the faster skill check will trip someone up. Our first match was on Badham Preschool. Not great. The match itself wasn't great either, with us only managing a 1k and 7 total hook states. The second match was even worse. We were on Ormond Resort, and we couldn't secure a single kill and only managed 6 total hooks. I knew this was going to be tough, but I guess I never knew how tough it'd be. I thought about what I could do. Clearly, my strategy isn't working. So, I changed my add-ons. Previously, I was running Trapper's Gloves and Fastening Tools to make my trap setting and resetting speed faster. So, I switched it up to Iridescent Stone and Honing Stone. Now I don't have to worry about resetting my traps, as Eerie Stone does that for me. And as I loaded into the third match on Protus Pen, the add-on switch worked beautifully. I secured it down early thanks to Eerie Stone setting one of the traps I hadn't grabbed yet, which got me some early pressure. funnily enough, 2 traps that I laid down at the very beginning of the match ended up being the most pivotal traps in the game. The game revolved around this poor Nancy, as she got her ankle snagged 3 times on these 2 traps. She first got snagged, freed herself, and was down thanks to Honing Stone. Someone picked her up, and she got snagged again. She's hooked, someone frees her, and not 3 seconds later, she gets her ankle snagged yet again and dies. Today was not Nancy's day. Through that pressure, the game reached a point where there were 2 survivors left, with 3 gens remaining, and both of them just gave up, giving me the 4K and the achievement in 3 tries. Next up was Wraith, who only has one good perk, Predator. Shadowborn is a very funny perk, but ultimately not that great, and Bloodhound is just awful. We kicked off the first attempt on Toba Landing, managing a 2K because someone just wouldn't leave and got mad about it in the endgame chat. Then we went to Thompson House and again got a 2K. Finally, we went to Blood Lodge and things were looking quite grim. Generators were flying, and before I knew it, all 4 survivors were still alive and I had 1 gen remaining. Is there even a chance of me bringing this back? If there was, I had to lock the fuck in. Oh my fucking god. No fucking way! No way! What a comeback! I did not think I'd win that. At the moment, I considered that game the greatest comeback in any game I've played. We managed to get the 4K in the Adept in 3 tries. Next was Hillbilly, and I always have a good time with this killer, no matter what. If you've watched my streams at all, you'll hear me say multiple times that Hillbilly is one of the most fun killers in the game. I owe a lot to Hillbilly because he was the star of a video I made on TikTok where a lot of my followers came from. Hillbilly has some pretty good perks, too. Enduring is very useful no matter who you play, and Tinkerer ain't that bad. Lightborn is kind of a crutch perk, but it is funny to just stare at survivors after they attempt to blind you. We've loaded into Game 1, and we're on my favorite map in the whole game, Dead Dog Saloon. My favorite killer to play, my favorite map, what could go wrong? Well, me not getting a single kill, that's what could go wrong. And what's worse, the next map is Leary's, an indoor map, and Hillbilly is horrible on them. Thanks to the tight corridors and shit in the middle of the hallways, Hillbilly has a tough time navigating indoor maps with his chainsaw. I had my work cut out for me here. Luckily, at some point during the mid-game, I managed to down a survivor and hook them in the basement. From this play alone, I had gotten all of the other survivors on death hook. Then, all I had to do was pick them off one by one. I find the hatch, and we get to a part of the game that I like to call Endgame Grab Ass, where it's just the killer patrolling the 2 exit gates, while the survivor just plays cautiously and tries to escape. I managed to find the last Leon, barely, and kill him before he finished opening the exit gate, giving me the Adept in 2 games. Next up was Nurse, the best killer in the game. Her perks are pretty good too. Nurse's Calling is easily the best of the bunch with free aura readings, and Thanatophobia has fringe uses on killers like Legion and Plague. Strider is just kinda bad though. Top tier killer with fairly solid perks. Should be easy, right? Well, yeah, if you don't completely suck ass at Nurse like I do. And boy did my first game really exploit my inexperience with this killer. We were on Temple of Purgitation, and I was matched up with a bully squad. Not exactly the team I want to see on a killer I am very unfamiliar with. I'm not gonna lie, I get my ass whooped, and my frustrations get the better of me, and I crash out. Hard. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself live on camera. Live on camera. Live on camera. I'm killing myself. Ah! Surely not, right? Oh my god! I f***ing get it! Despite that, though, I actually managed a 3K, due to the team's overconfidence near the end, and this Meg desperately wanting the most obvious head-on save I have ever seen in my life. But, unfortunately for her, I knew the counterplay. I think I'm just gonna sit here, because I know she has head-on. Actually.
Get fucked!
The next game we loaded into Groaning Storehouse, and I dialed the fuck in. I got the Fung out pretty early thanks to a Nurse's Calling, showing me where she was trying to heal, and from there I steamrolled the game with 4 gens remaining. That's another Adept in the bag. Second try. Next up is the recently departed Michael Myers. His perks are okay for the most part. They all revolve around the Obsession. Whenever you load into a trial, you'll notice that one player's portrait is a little different on the HUD. They have these weird-looking spider legs around them. Well, that's the Obsession. Player Your Food rewards you with haste when you drop chase with the Obsession, Save the Best for Last rewards you with faster attack cooldowns when you don't hit the Obsession, and Dying Light punishes the team for every time you don't hook the Obsession. We load back into Crota's Pen with a plan. Kill everyone else, save the Obsession for last. But sometimes plans don't exactly play out how you want them to. This team was very altruistic. Possibly because there was a TTV in the lobby, but I digress. Now, say what you will about slugging and tunneling, but I'll be damned if I'm going to let survivors get away with stupid shit. Fortunately for me, though, this game went smoothly. So smoothly that I ended up getting the Adept on the first try. That is first try Myers Adept! God! Next up was Hag. A killer at this point in time I had a singular game on. Yes, really. Hag's perks are all hex perks, which means they appear on totems on the map. If a survivor cleanses the totem, you lose the perk's effect for the rest of the trial. So if these survivors find my hexes, I'll be perkless. However, Adept Hag has a very interesting win condition. Hex Devour Hope. You move a certain distance away from the hook, you get a token. You get enough tokens, you'll be able to kill a survivor on the spot no matter what hook state they're at. It's a brutal perk if survivors don't end up finding the totem. Not to mention, Hag is the first killer with a gen regression perk, Hex Ruin, which automatically regresses gens that aren't being worked on. But I don't like hex perks, and this match is exactly why. Not 2 minutes into the game, and third seal is cleansed. Then Devour Hope follows a little bit after that. So much for that win condition. As much as I attempt to protect my last hex with my traps, it gets cleansed as well. And now, I have no perks. Things were looking bad, but for some reason these survivors seemed overly confident. Cleansing 3 of my hexes must have done something to their ego. Confidence is a killer at times, and boy did it bite this particular team in the ass. You're a fucking idiot, bro. They are losing it against an M1 Hag. Despite being perkless, I managed to kill 3, find the hatch, and kill the last survivor who triggered one of my traps near the exit gate, and get the 4K and the Adept first try. Adept tag first try? Are you kidding me? I had no perks for half the game! Next was Doctor, a personal favorite killer of mine. Hey kids, did you know Doctor technically nerfs himself whenever you go for his Adept? How, you might ask? Monitor and abuse. Let me explain. The range of Doctor's Static Blast is based solely on his terror radius. If you hear his terror radius, you are in Static Blast range. Monitor and Abuse reduces your terror radius whenever you aren't in chase, and increases it whenever you are in chase. Static Blast should never, ever be used in chase, so you're stuck with a nerfed Static Blast whenever you try this attempt. At least his other perks are solid. Overwhelming Presence is free aura reading whenever a survivor uses an item, and Overcharge is a gen regression perk, so I can't complain about it too much. Not that it mattered, because I really wish I forgot this first game existed. We load in on Dead Sands, a great sign already, I know. And for some unexplainable reason, I miss every single lunge I go for. I seriously could not explain to you how I managed to fuck up my timing that badly. As much as I really don't want to count this single hook forfeit of a game, I have to for the sake of honesty. I immediately redeem myself on Dead Dog Saloon and get a nice 4K thanks to some basement pressure. Sable's in basement. Nice. Well, Sable, you were fucking helpful. Do not run no mither. Actually, keep running no mither. It allows me to get adepts easier. There you are. Next is Bubba, and he's got a nice selection of perks as well. Barbecue and Chili and Franklin's Demise, even after the nerfs, are both great. Knockout is meh, though, even after its rework. I load up on Temple of Purgitation and get a really, really quick 4K. Oh my god. Oh, and basement's right here? Oh, hell no. Hey, bud. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So she's going to basement. Oh, what? Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you do that? What the fuck? Why in the fuck would you do that? Okay, Bubba Adept, I fucking guess. Great, first try. Well, about that. Where did he go? Okay, this is bad, actually. I can't find him. Well, shit! So, funny thing about Adept achievements. If you manage a 4K, but a survivor bleeds out instead of being hooked or moried, you don't get the achievement. This is something I knew about when going into this challenge, but I didn't think it'd be a problem. Well, this Jeff had other plans as he turns into David fucking Copperfield and disappears when I get back from hooking the other survivor I was carrying. I swear to God, I turned this map upside down. I could not find this guy. No bloodstains, no noises, he just vanished. And so what was going to be another first try Adept turns into a failed attempt even though I got the 4K. For those wondering why this doesn't count, I'm almost certain it has to do with scoring events, but we'll get into that later. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we call that foreshadowing. Okay? So, I had to play another game, this time on Greenville Square. It was looking rough at first, but I managed to find a pivotal moment to punish some unnecessary altruism and started steamrolling based on that momentum. Well. Oh fuck, she gets it. Oh wait, no she doesn't. There we go. Okay, they're all right here. Oh wait, Sable's right here. Alright, there we go. Oh, conviction. Of course. Can you stay down? Damn! We managed a 4K and got the achievement this time. I breathed a sigh of relief and then realized who was next. Huntress. The killer with the absolute worst perk selection in the game. All of these perks are shit from an ass. Her Hex is easily the best one, and even then it's mid. Territorial Imperative? Or reading for when a survivor enters the basement, but only when you are 24 meters or further away from it? Oh boy! Beast of Prey. Undetectable when I have Bloodlust? Oh, great! A perk that takes effect when you are losing a chase. Not to mention, and I have to preface this, I am a Springtrap main. You'd think the hatchets and the axe would be almost identical, but no. First of all, the projectile speeds. It might just be me, but god fucking damn does Huntress's hatchets feel slow as Christmas. I am too used to Springtrap's projectile speeds, so my muscle memory for the other axe-throwing killer is completely fucked. And secondly, the arcs. They are completely different. Up close, they are identical. But at ranges where Springtrap has to aim upwards a little bit to hit far-off survivors, Huntress doesn't have to adjust. So, naturally, when I see someone far away, I aim up, and my hatchet goes way off course. Again, another case of me being too used to the other axe-throwing rabbit. Needless to say, I was nervous for this one. I loaded into the Sanctum of Wrath, and got the 4K first try. Yeah, sorry for all that build-up, only for me to get it on the first try, but remember, this challenge has only just begun. However, getting that Huntress Adept on the first try must have given me a surge of momentum, because the next 3 killers were also done on the first try. Freddy's Adept was done on Shattered Square, and I got some choice words from a Meg I caught on an unfortunate situation. Pig's Adept was back on Leary's, and I got some very interesting tunneling accusations from an Adam who died to a head trap. Trap! Adam's trap should be going off here in a sec, should it not? Like, he's fucked. Yep, there it goes. And they do count, thank God. Alright, cool. What? In what world is my name racist? What? What? What the actual fuck? And Clowns was on Nostromo, which no one said anything about, surprisingly. Y'all fucking complained about Pig and Freddy, and Clown is the one that I didn't get a single complaint about? What the fuck is wrong with these? After Clown's Adept, I decided to end stream. I was streaming for about 8 hours at this point, and I was tired. I needed to rest up and prepare for the next 2 streams, which are fully dedicated to the Adept grind. I went into day 2 with a lot of confidence. Out of the 12 killers I played on day 1, I got the Adept first try on half of them. Not to mention, we're headed into familiar territory. A lot of the killers I actually know how to play well are the ones I actually get to play on this day. But before we get to them, I gotta play Spirit. Another killer I'm not great at. And good god, I could not have picked a more horrendous killer to play loud-ass heavy metal music while playing. You know, the killer that relies on sound. Needless to say, I only got a 1K on this first game on Suffocation Pit, thanks to Rancor. Next game was at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, where I managed to get that 4K and the Adept. But, like, survivors are just assholes, man. I hate them. Fatty! Ah! Nice. Good haunted grounds value. Nice. I don't know why I thought Fawn was still there. That was very dumb. I hear you. There you are. Oh, buddy. I don't want you. Stop trying to sell. God, you are miserable. God, you are fucking miserable. Wait! Yes! 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 Thank God! Next was Legion, a killer I am very familiar with. I play a lot of Legion. I know what to do with this killer. That said, I also know this killer is kinda bad, and their perks don't exactly help out much. Mad Grit, Iron Maiden, great. However, Legion does have some really good add-ons, and I could use those to give me the extra mileage I need to get this Adept. I started formulating a plan of what 2 add-ons could help me out the most. Eventually, I landed on Filthy Blade and Fuming Mixtape. Fuming Mixtape is a pocket ruin. It automatically regresses generators that aren't being worked on while you're in Feral Frenzy. It also shows the progression of generators while you're in Feral Frenzy, so you know where to go. Filthy Blade increases the time needed to mend deep wounds caused by Feral Frenzy by 4 seconds. So, we load into the game. Yeah, that's the map. Early game was rough, but mid-game I realized I have 2 add-ons that are sort of designed to waste time and stall games out. So, we're going to be playing for the end game and deplete as many pallets as we can. All I gotta do is find the gens that survivors are on, either through discoordinates or through the mixtape, get them off, and get them to waste both time and pallets. From there, it went flawlessly. So many pivotal pallets were removed, and I even got 2 survivors on Death Hook by the time we reached 2 gens. Through the power of Fuming Mixtape, I managed to stall the game to a screeching halt and even killed those 2 survivors. I even got value from a perk I never in my life thought I'd get anything from. Iron Maiden. So, this cape brought Inner Strength, a Nancy perk that fully heals you whenever you're in a locker for a period of time. Turns out, Iron Maiden is the true counter to that perk. Iron Maiden activates when a survivor exits a locker, and that survivor then screams and is exposed for 30 seconds. The first time it happened, I didn't catch on, but the second time it happened, I picked up on it immediately and capitalized on it. She has the perk that lets you heal when you're in lockers. Where the fuck are you? Yes! Iron Maiden value, bitch! Through a war of attrition, I came out on top and got the Adept first try. I was actually nervous about that game. God damn. Dude, Iridescent Mixtape put in every ounce of work for me that game. Or Fuming Mixtape, I mean. This fucking add-on is what saved me that game. Now momentum is on my side as we get to Plague. She's got 3 pretty great perks too, so this should be easy. I could not have been more wrong, as Plague ended up being the biggest roadblock of this challenge. First game was on Midwich. It did not go well at all. But that's fine. I don't play a lot of Plague, so this is expected. He hates this. Kitty! Kitty! Second game was on Wrecker's Yard. I got a 3K, found the hatch, but the last survivor was on the gate. By the time I got over there, he was out of there, so that game didn't count. Next game was on Dead Dog Saloon, my favorite map. And this game was going great! I was dominating this game and was well on pace to get that Adept. What could go wrong? What? What the fuck? Yeah, I have absolutely no clue why that happened. My stream didn't go offline, my internet didn't go out, so why the actual fuck did that disconnect happen? In all fairness, this stream was during that big-ass winter storm that hit the East Coast back in late January, so there might have been a slight hiccup with the server because of that, but I blame Spectrum, my internet provider. Fuck you guys. Game 4 was on Toba Landing. Got 3K, found the hatch, survivor opened the gate, and escaped by the time I got back. Game numero 5 was back at Midwich, and it went horribly. At this point, I was fuming. I should have had the Adept by now, but some mysterious force said otherwise. I was in a sour mode going into Game 6, which was on RPD. The game was going poorly, and it looked like it was going to be another loss. But miraculously, I managed to hold a fairly sketchy 3-gen and ended up whittling the survivors down. The survivors cleansing their infections as soon as they could also helped. I swear, I got at least 9 uses of Corrupt Purge this game. One by one, they fall, and I down a survivor to secure a 3K. I have no information on where the last one is, and I am petrified to go out of my way to try and find her, only for that one to bleed out. So I gamble on the hatch endgame yet again. I kill the third survivor and find the hatch. Am I seriously going to lose this Adept to the gate again? Doubt flooded my mind until I saw something. A miracle. Scratch marks. She was near. Following the trail, I managed to find her hiding on the roof. And finally, I got the 4K and the Adept, putting this nightmare behind me. Next up was Ghostface, and thank God this one didn't take long. I desperately needed a confidence boost after the disaster that was Plague's attempts. I loaded up on Bad in preschool and got the 4K first try. Surprising, given the map, I know. And you don't make it to anything. Off. That's fine. We just go for Ada then. They're gonna leave her to die. We'll just confirm it. Fuck it. go. There's nothing here for you, buckaroo. Nice! Got it.
Ooh, take a selfie!
Next was Demogorgon, and it's about damn time I get to use another gen regression perk. Surge. One of my favorites, actually. I load up on Shelter Woods, and I am tearing through this team of survivors. My shreds and mind games are on point. Were all 4 of them on that gen? I think they were. Outside. Jesus. Let's go. I got 3 kills, found the hatch, and found Alucard, who got the gate open, but at the last possible moment, I positioned my shred to where I'd body block him from leaving if I missed, which forced him to run away and play a filler pallet near the gate. I downed him, got the 4K, and the Adept? Alright, let me explain. So, Demogorgon technically doesn't have an Adept achievement. He used to, along with Steve and Nancy, but back in 2022, the first Stranger Things chapter was removed due to the license from Netflix expiring. Thus, any achievements relating to Demogorgon, Steve, or Nancy got removed and repurposed into other achievements. Now, obviously, the chapter is back, but the achievements are still missing. Funnily enough, while streaming, I didn't catch the fact that I never got an achievement for this Adept, although I distinctly remembered that I thought it was odd that I didn't hear the noise for the achievement. I assumed the noise bugged, or I just missed it while I was reading my chat. I only caught it when I was editing the video that contained all the successful Adepts. Next was Oni, one of my favorite killers. I love playing this rage-filled monster. How could anything ruin my fun? But if I... Fuck me. Oh. Yeah. Oni plus indoor map equals not a fun time for the Oni player. I probably don't need to tell you that I didn't get the 4K here, but... I didn't get the 4K here. Alright, bad start, but there's only 6 indoor maps in the game, so the chances are slim I'll get another. Dude! Seriously? Fucking piece of shit. Alright, fuck y'all. Despite my miniature crash out when this game started, I actually played pretty well here. You see, the game is a bit different from other indoor maps. The top floor is wide open with plenty of room to move around, while the bottom floor has all the tight corridors and walls that you're used to from indoor maps, which meant that using Blood Rage wasn't that much of a pain. I actually ended up getting the 4K here and the Adept on the second try. Oh. I get you here? I did. You're cooked! Next up was Mr. Death Slinger. Death Slinger. Yeah, Death Slinger. That's the killer. Another personal favorite, and a killer I actually would consider to be among my best. Not to mention his perks are pretty cool. Deadman Switch is always a great perk. Gearhead is pretty solid for information, and for an adept, Hex Retribution is kinda useless, but survivors don't know that when they load in. Based on what I've told you, this shouldn't be hard, right? If this isn't a sign of what's to come, I don't know what is. Not only is Hawkins Deathslinger's worst map, thanks to the narrow sightlines and never-ending bends in the hallways of pain and misery, but it's also my least favorite map in the game, so I'm already tilted as soon as I got here. Not to mention, I played this directly after Oni, which means I got 3 indoor maps in a row. There is only 6 of them in the game. I got half of the total indoor maps all in a row. Needless to say, the survivors escaped. The next game was on Batum, and despite me landing some pretty gnarly shots, I still got her! I got her through the flashbang! No! I only managed a 3K, and the last survivor found the hatch. Next game was on Nostromo. It was a pretty close game, and I got the 3K, but the last survivor opened the gate and left before I could catch them. Then we went back to Temple of Purgitation, where I put up the worst Deathslinger numbers in my entire career. Shit was embarrassing. Then we went to Family Residence, where I finally caught a break and got the easiest Deathslinger game of my whole life, getting the 4K and the Adept, and some choice words from a Sable who wasn't very happy with me in the endgame chat. Running for the hills. Oh, no way! There we go. Steve gets unhooked. I'm trying to body block as much as I can, but they're gonna go there though, unfortunately. Oh, we just got one right here. That's a bold move. That is a bold move. Oh, there's Fawn right there. Nice. Pop the chin up top. Is that Sable? And I see her. I saw her. Thank God. Thank God. Finally! God, that was so hard for no reason. Jesus. That's censored, so only God knows what that says. Next was Pyramid Head, another killer I really enjoy playing. We got a Toba landing, and I get the 4K and the Adept on the first try. Nothing really interesting happened here. After Pyramid Head was Blight. I'm absolutely garbage at the top tier killers, and this first match on Dead Sands really exploited my lack of experience with Blight. We didn't get a single kill. I immediately redeemed myself on Nostromo, however, grabbing the Adept on the second try. The hindered fucked my dash up so much. Alright, that's Blight! Alright, that took me a lot less time than I thought it would. Next was Twins, my least favorite killer in the entire game. I hate the way that they look, the way that they play. I hate the fact that Dead by Daylight can't decide whether Victor is a baby or the same age as Charlotte. Victor and Charlotte are conjoined twins, so you'd think they'd age together, right? Well, behavior doesn't seem to think so, as there are multiple things within their chase theme. Menu theme. And add-ons that suggest that Victor is still a child. Despite my grievances with this killer, I load in onto Midwich and nab the Adept first try. There we go, that's Twins. Whatever, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care enough about this killer. Next was Trickster, and whoo boy, this one was a doozy. First game was on Crota's Pen, where I got no kills and a pep talk from this Ada that sounded a bit backhanded. I know that wasn't the intention, but still. I got first. I just wanted the Adept. I'm getting a pep talk. Next was On the Game, where I got a 2K before the gates opened, secured another hook during the extra time No Way Out provided me, but this Michaela wasn't feeling very altruistic, so she just left, giving me a 3K. Next was on Leary's, and this game was a war of attrition. Trickster and indoor maps don't exactly mesh well, since there are high walls everywhere, making it pretty difficult to hit your knives on certain parts of the map. I managed to stall the game and hold a 3-gen for a whopping 6 minutes, and got a 2K. I got another hook thanks to No Way Out, blocking the gates for a bit, but Claude snuck past me, got the unhook, and I was left to only a 2K to my name. Next was Eerie of Crows. The survivor-sided maps just kept on coming today, huh? Game started out fine. I got 3 hooks before the first generator popped, but there were 2 pivotal points in this match where it truly swung in my favor. The first was at this gen near Shack, where I got a slight spider sense of Steve hiding in a locker. I hook him, down another survivor, and on my way back, I catch a glimpse of Steve running towards the opposite end of the map, so I do the immoral but correct play of sending his ass back to the lobby. Needless to say, he was not thrilled about that. The nail of the coffin was a case of blissfully unaware survivors. I down and hooked the Ada, but for some reason the Kate and the Dwight, who both have 1 hook apiece, one of which is fully healed, decided to stick the gen near Shack before going for the unhook. Kate gets downed, and after I find them, I go after Dwight next to finish the job, giving me the Adept. You're done. That's it. You're toast!
간다!
god! Next was Nemesis, and we get a selection of very solid perks. Lethal Pursuer and Eruption are very strong perks, while Hysteria isn't exactly great, but you can catch someone off guard with it, occasionally. The first game on Tumble Landing, god, I've done this map a lot today, and I had a really frustrating 4-out with a bit of rage. Just fucking leave. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. Just fucking go. Oh my god. Just leave! For the love of fuck! Next game was on Wretched Shop. We had a rough start, but constant chat interactions calmed me down, and I was able to secure the 4K and the Adept on the second try. If it sounds like I'm speeding past some of these games, it's because a lot of them weren't particularly noteworthy, and I kinda autopiloted my way through them. If I went into detail about every single game, a lot of them would just be me stating the obvious. Next would have been Cenobite, but I started my Dead by Daylight journey when the FNAF DLC was added, which was a few months after Cenobite had left the shops. On a completely unrelated note, however, would anyone like to donate $400? I promise it'll go to a good cause. Instead of Cenobite, next for me would be Miss Camila Mora, the artist. This Adept is definitely the easiest out of any killer. Artist has two of the best perks of the game, Pain Resonance and Grim Embrace. Two perks that have been meta since Artist's launch all the way back in 2021. Pain Resonance is the #1 most picked killer perk in the whole game, and looking at what it does, it's not hard to see why. Not to mention, Artist herself is a fairly solid killer, and one I'm actually good with. I load up on Fallen Refuge, a killer-sided map, and I get matched up with actual infants. The entity decided to give me actual babies as my prey, and I feasted upon them. MMR isn't that bad, right? Good perks, killer-sided map, baby survivors. Needless to say, I got the 4K here and the Adept first tries. Come on. That jet was about to blow. Yes! Barely missed it. There we go. Oh, they choose. You gotta be kidding me. Aww. There we go. Gotcha. Still has the birds on her. She's not swatting them away, which is good. Okay, I guess we can do that then. Of course. I think that makes the most sense to me, and then they'll add skins for the other ones. Cage looks like me when I was first playing Survivor. Ooh, severed hands. It's okay. Ballot. Gotcha. Alright, night, Ivy. Appreciate the follow. if this cage gets hatched, I'm gonna be so pissed. Okay, I know where he's at. Right here. Yes! 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 Artist first try. Thank God, I need it. Next is Sadako. Sadako also has a very solid selection of perks. Call of Brine is a gen regression perk that doubles as an information perk. Floods of Rage is an aura reading perk, and Merciless Storm is fucking hilarious. Sadako herself also has a dirty win condition present within her power. Sadako can teleport between TVs that are present on the map. Any survivor within 16 meters of a TV that Sadako teleports to gets a stack of Condemned. If a survivor gets 7 stacks of Condemned, get it? Because it's like the movie, where if you watch the tape, you have 7 days till you die. Do you get it? And Sadako downs them in a chase. She can instantly kill them on the spot with Inexorable Stare, regardless of hook states. We load up on Hawkins, my least favorite map. Despite my grievances with this map, I have to admit that it is godly for stealth killers like Sadako. And this game shows exactly why. I get a kill at 4 gens because this Ada just gives up, and I get 7 stacks of Condemned on the Bill, who has no hook states, down him, and kill him instantly with a mini-mori. Dead by Daylight is a brutal game. I kill Laura and do the mini-mori for style points, and beat Yoichi to the hatch, kill him, and get the 4K and the Adept first try. Next up was Dredge, a killer that I've become quite fond of recently. Wish I could say the same about his perks! Sure, Dissolution isn't bad, but Darkness Revealed is very situational, and Septic Touch is just awful. Out of all the killers I play, this is a killer I'd actually want an indoor map with, since lockers are abundant on those maps. I've had bad luck with indoor maps today already, so let's see what happens. Alrighty. Clearly, the entity thinks this is a sick joke, but I will endure. And endure I did, because this fucking game was a war of attrition. Let me introduce you to the cast of survivors we're up against. We have the most obvious duo I've ever seen in my life, with just Steve and Nancy, since these two may as well have had their asses glued together since they never left each other. Next, we got the Stolita, who was hiding for the hatch to spawn and was the reason why this match dragged out as long as it did. Lastly, we have this Adam, who is a TTV, so you already know how this entire lobby is going to play. I secure a down early on Steve, but Nancy slithers out of nowhere like Randy Orton and hits me with an RKO, a retina-killing object. Something about this flashlight save made her feel like hot shit afterwards, so I made it my damn mission to make sure that was the only one she got. Nancy was down about 30 seconds afterwards. I end up getting a second down on the TTV. Obviously, 2 hook states is way too many for these survivors, because this down makes both Nancy and Steve run in like they're the Usos helping out goddamn Roman Reigns. Despite their best efforts, I still hook the TTV, and the game progresses. I don't get much done, admittedly, by the time I get my first kill, we're at 1 gen remaining, but I have Nancy on death hook, and Steve has a hook state as well. However, my gen spread is pretty solid. They all have lockers close by, giving me a pseudo 3-gen. And let me tell you, I held this damn 3-gen down for 11 minutes. The Iron Man match of the century was about to begin. Next, I eliminate Steve from this fucked up variation of a battle royal. You want to know how long that took after Adam died? 2 minutes. Oh, wait a minute. So, does that mean... Yep. The rest of this match was 9 minutes long. Thalita at this stage only had 1 hook state, while Nancy had 2. To ensure the best possible odds of getting the Adept, I wanted to hook Thalita and intercept Nancy for the possible save. 7 of those 9 minutes were me roaming around my 3-gen, finding the wrong survivor, injuring them, and roaming around again. Eventually, I do find Thalita. She was at the edge of the map, because of course she was. I down her, spot Nancy going for the save, and down her before Thalita kills herself on hook, causing the hatch to spawn. The cruel irony is that the hatch spawned outside of Shack, and you can hear the hatch open when Nancy gets down and killed. Thus, after a 21-minute game, I got the 4K and the Adept on the first try yet again. After that game, I was tuckered out. I had been streaming for 10 hours, and at this point, I desperately needed to go to bed. I take 6 days off of streaming for a few reasons. One, the second Stranger Things chapter released on Tuesday, and I didn't want to push myself to get all the attempts before then, and I was suffering from a small amount of burnout. From streaming, not from Dead by Daylight, surprisingly. However, during that 6-day break, I would practice the mechanics of killers that I'm not particularly confident on, mainly Crossu and the new Vecna, to hopefully make their adepts less painful. Day 3 is where all the challenges awaited me. So far, there's only been a few roadblocks in this challenge, but Day 3 is where I was put to my limits, both physically in-game and mentally in real life. I say that, but you probably wouldn't even believe me after seeing these first few games. First up was Wesker, and the first game of the day was on Dead Dog Saloon. What a beautiful way to start the day. The game is nothing special. I'm vibing with my chat while doing decently well. I do run into a little bit of trouble at the saloon loop when the Steve gets a little bit of an ego and decides to teabag me a bit. That went well for him a bit. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Hey, weren't you teabagging me earlier? Yeah, yeah! Yeah! Next was Night, and our first game sends us to Toba Landing. Going into this game, I was a little nervous as I hadn't played Night in a while, but all fears are immediately put to rest after this first interaction. There we go. A lot of my pressure came from the second hook on the James, where a vast majority of altruism attempts from Sable and Robin were swiftly punished. Oh! Face the darkness value! That was so cool. No, let me hook! No! That was so cool though. Got too hasty. God damn it. No. You don't get that. I know you're near, so just gonna make a circle like that. There! Yep, had a feeling. Nope! 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 Suck my fucking fat wiener! James ends up dying on hook, Robin and Sable fall suit after, and I find poor Nicolas Cage sitting on the Janet's shack, completely given up after an absolute slaughter of a game. And once again, we get the Adept on the first try. To my shock, James was actually a good sport in the endgame chat, and congratulated me on the Adept. GG's. Oh, that was the James. I did. What a good sport. Just a quick reminder, I was playing Knight! I thought you guys hated this fucker. Next up was Mother Merchant. It's no surprise that Merchant at this point in time, despite her recent buffs, is still incredibly bad. But I wasn't gonna let that scare me. We loaded on Nostromo, and I get my ass handed to me. No surprises there. Next game was on Midwich, and it went a lot better. During this game, I actually figured out how the radar worked, and that leads me to an easy down on the Renato here. Downstairs. Right? Is that what that means on the radar? Yes! Yes, that is what that means. Nice! Other than that, this game is nothing special. We find the hatch and find the last survivor before they can open up the gate, leading to the 4K and the Adept on the second try. When you get DVD and load it up, what's the first thing you do as a beginner? Refund it. Next up was one of the roadblocks, and it is, again, on a killer I have a lot of experience with. Singularity. You'd think the Adepts for the killers I actually play would be easy, yeah? Apparently not. The first game is on Hawkins. Unfortunately for me, I'm about to get extremely familiar with this map today. Hawkins is easily one of Singularity's worst maps, if not his worst, and I hate this map with a burning passion. Needless to say, I don't get the Adept here. Next is on Groaning Storehouse, where all 4 survivors escaped. We're back on Dead Dog for game number 3, I get the 3K and spot the Ada on my biopod, but I don't tag her in time, and she finds the hatch and escapes. Joy. Fourth game is on Nostromo, where some of the survivors were also grinding for Adepts. I play the best I can, but I can't close the game out, leading to another failed attempt. Congrats on the survivors that did end up getting their Adepts, though. At this point, I'm starting to get a bit frustrated, and as I load into Sanctum of Wrath and gens start flying immediately, it looks like I'm about to queue for Game 6 fairly soon. I didn't want that, so I had to turn to some darker arts. The art of Slugularity. Singularity is extremely good at slugging and maintaining a 3-gen, due to his ability to warp to pretty much anywhere on the map. By the time we were at 1 gen, 3 survivors stood in my way. 2 of the 3 gens were progressed way past the 50% mark. The remaining survivors wanted to get these gens done, no matter what. But that's what led to their downfall. 1, 2, and 3 slug survivors. No unbreakables, no convictions, nothing to stop the carnage. Thankfully, bot survivors do not move when down, meaning this Leon stayed put, allowing me to secure the 4K and the Adept on attempt number 5. Next up is Xenomorph. I lit up on Wrecker's Yard, and this game goes really well. At first. I get the 3K, find the hatch, and...
No. Unknown? I hate you. I fucking hate you. I hate you so fucking much right now. Ooh, I'm gonna kill you, buddy. Ooh.
Well, fuck. This is game 1, though, but why am I so upset? Well, let me introduce you to a little bastard known as Unknown_Glazer 2. Prior to Skull Merchant's Adept, this piece of shit decided to redeem some channel points, banning an in-game action. I originally was not going to allow this during my Adepts, however, due to some peer pressure from this little shithead, I decided to allow it. After all, what could possibly go wrong? For the action he banned, I couldn't use my M1 attack. Now, please note that this fucker redeemed this when Skull Merchant was up next. This dickhead's original intention was to make me sit fucking still for 1 game and mulligan an attempt because Skull Merchant's power cannot down survivors unless the idiots forget to mend. I overruled this, which was a wise decision. However, I compromised, which was a stupid decision. I promised that the next killer that could down survivors with an M2 attack, I would only use M2, which meant Xenomorph was the one undergoing this challenge. Why does this matter? Because near the end game, there's a point where I have Yunjin cornered, and she is about to die. However, there's a flame turret that kicks me out of my power because my tail attack whiffs. If I had been able to M1 the turret, that Yunjin was dead, and this endgame would not have happened. I made sure to remind him of his error constantly, because what would have been a first try Adept ended up being a failed attempt because this waste of sperm thought it would be funny to tack on a challenge on top of a self-imposed challenge. I cannot stress this enough, but go fuck yourself, Unknown. You owe me at least 5 gifted subs for that. This failed attempt due to this little asshole caused a downward spiral where games 2 and 3, which were on Leary's and Ormond mine, were blowouts. Needless to say, I was very upset, and this caused my mood to sour for the rest of the stream. I already had a tough time getting Singularity's Adept, and now I get close to gaining my confidence back with an Adept completed on the first try. But, nope. I'm sure that wasn't his intention. He only wanted to see me suffer for 1 game, but little did we both know, this was the catalyst for a mental shift later on. I'd also love to point out that he also tried redeeming this again for the Chucky attempt coming up, and I promptly told him to go fuck himself because I was not going to go through that again. With viewers like these, who needs enemies, am I right?
Sorry, ugly man jump scare, but... Kitty. What's up? He's gonna fall asleep? Oh. What you doing? Huh? What you doing, eh? You wanna say hi? Say hi! Oh. He hates when I pick him up, but... Yeah, he hates this.
Thankfully, for game number 4, we head back to Midwich and grab our 4K that I should have gotten on the first try, and the Adept. Next up was Chucky on Family Residence. Thank God I forbade the banning of in-game actions past this point, because this game was a much-needed confidence booster. I attempted to get value out of Hex 2 can play on the Laura here, but she just turns into fucking Toph and navigates this loop perfectly. What the fuck? And I know for a fact I got the perk activated because I got the achievement for the Hex still standing at the end of the match. Here's how you can tell I don't use Hex perks often. Regardless, this game was easy enough, and I get the 4K and the Adept on the first try. Next was Unknown, or Potential Man, or the Harmless, whatever you want to call them. Unknown's perks are all dookie dog shit, so this might be a bit of a struggle. I load up on the game, and I managed to secure my first down fairly quickly. I even got 2 survivors affected by the weakened status. Pretty good start. Well, surely nothing will...
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I will not deny my happiness.
Now, say what you will about how I went about getting this Adept. Say what you will about slugging. But come on now. This is the first hook of the match. I am playing Unknown. A decent killer, but not at all as strong as Nurse Blighter Billy. In what possible scenario is body blocking me from getting this hook the correct call instead of getting on a generator? It's pretty obvious that this was a bully squad, and I was not going to entertain their shenanigans. However, I am thankful, as that led to the easiest Adept of this challenge so far. Next was Vecna, the Dungeons & Dragons one. Now, I love me some Vecna, and before I played him, I didn't think I would. But this is a killer I've been sleeping on as of late. We load into Eyrie of Crows. Wonderful. Despite the map, we actually do really well. So well, in fact, that the survivors all collectively just gave up, allowing me to get the win for free. I'm not sure why, as the game was still extremely possible for the survivors. If I could redo one Adept, it'd be this one. This was the only Adept where I didn't feel like I didn't earn as much as the other ones. However, in a challenge like this, you gotta take what's given to you, even if it's 3 survivors groveling at your feet, begging for you to get them out of this game. Yet another first try Adept. Next is Dracula, my secondary killer. I've put in a lot of time with Dracula, almost as much as Springtrap, and I can confidently say I know what I'm doing with this killer. The first game is on Hawkins, lovely, and I'm up against what I believe to be a 4-man Swift. That belief is strengthened by the ass whooping I got during this game. I cannot stress this enough, but fuck this map and whoever designed it. As if the indoor map pain and suffering wasn't enough, we load up into RPD next. This time, however, the game goes really well. I secure the 3K and find the hatch and start everyone's favorite game of endgame grab-ass. I patrol both exit gates in bat form, but notice that the last survivor isn't committing to either of them. The endgame collapse timer ticks down and neither gate has been touched. I'm reminded of the first Bubba game on day 1, where even though I got the 4K, I didn't get the Adept because one survivor bled out. I start to get nervous as the entity claims the last survivor, who was hiding in a locker, wondering if this game would count. Thankfully, it did count, and I got my Adept on attempt number 2. So, you may be asking, why did this count, but the Bubba game didn't? As I had mentioned earlier, I'm almost certain it has to do with scoring events. As you'll notice in the Dracula game, when the last survivor dies, I get points for it, because she was claimed by the entity for not escaping the trial in time. Meanwhile, in the first Bubba match, when Jeff dies, it cuts straight to the endgame lobby screen. No points awarded. This is why I think the Adept system goes off of the scoring events you get for killing and sacrificing survivors, even though bleedouts count as kills. But y'all probably knew that already. You fucking nerds. After Dracula, we're at the home stretch. 5 more killers left in this challenge. First one was Houndmaster, who really set the mood for this stretch of games. Now, when I first played Houndmaster, I thought I liked her, but oh my god. Every time I played her since, I have loathed and hated her because this killer literally does not function right. Whether it's targeting issues for Snug to sniff out generators, Snug just not fucking dashing at all, or whatever this bullshit is, Houndmaster is a killer for those with Sisyphus levels of fortitude. I'm unfortunately not that guy. In addition, Houndmaster competes with Huntress for the absolute worst set of perks in the game. At the very least, Jagged Compass is good. It's a solid info perk, but holy fuck, the other two suck complete shit. No Quarter might be the worst perk in the game. On paper, it sounds solid. It's Merciless Storm but for healing. However, it only activates when a survivor is self-healing. Either with a perk like Self-Care or Strength and Shadows, which are both dog shit, pun fully intended. Or with a medkit, which is a common scenario, but not worth giving up a valuable perk slot for. Next is All Shaking Thunder, which, despite the name sounding cool or how someone would describe a large set of cheeks being clapped, is underwhelming. Increased lunge distance after falling from a height. Now, this does sound pretty nice on indoor maps, especially, but coup de grace has increased lunge distance with no prerequisite, so this perk is outclassed. We start the descent into misery with Rancid Abattoir, where I get 4 outed. Delightful. Then we're back on Leary's. Okay, I know I've spread Hawkins hate a lot during this video, but good fucking god, can I stop getting this map too? This map is almost just as bad. Despite my disdain for this map, I actually do quite well here. Getting a 3k, but Steve decides to hide like a little bitch and escape through the exit gates after I found the hatch, denying me the attempt I had felt that I had earned. I was calm and collected though. We're back on Pale Rose with this next attempt, and I do not need to tell you how this map and Houndmaster do not mix. With a metric fuckton of stupid bullshit in the way for absolutely no reason, and the tight corners on loops that make aiming Snug almost impossible, it is pretty clear that I did not get the Adept here. As if the games couldn't get any worse, I'm sent to my personal purgatory once again. I take it well. After readjusting the speakers that had fallen off my desk due to how calm I was, I managed to find 3 survivors on the same gen. Fortunately, I hit the big time, as these survivors must have been from Wall Street because they were trading hook states like they were fucking stocks. I could only imagine what Dustin was thinking about, as the 3 chimpanzees he has for teammates are getting brutally mauled by the world's buggiest dog. I power through this game, and through hatred and pure rage before I know it, I have Lara and Alucard on Deathhook at 3 gens, which means the game is going very well for us. Eventually, the Alucard wants to give up, but not before telling me something interesting. He finds the basement and is pointing towards it. I down him and hook him there, and decide to use Snug to investigate the lockers. Sure enough, Meg and Laura were both hiding in the basement, leaving only Dustin remaining. I assume he's gonna bitch out and wait for Hatch since this game is over, but to my surprise he actually makes the rescue. I intercept them both and hook Dustin back in the basement, and to no one's surprise, I find Meg hiding in a locker not too far away. Finally, getting this Adept. I know this Adept took less games than Slinger playing in Singularity, but this felt more mentally straining because I felt like a dumb fuck half the time because this killer is held together with glue. Next up was Ghoul, or Grappling Hook Legion as one of my viewers lovingly calls him. I load up into the first game's lobby and have the sudden urge to check Steam profiles since all the survivors I'm up against are on PC.
Oh, Jesus Christ. 5k hours. Bare minimum 10k hours. Can't tell if they're Swift or not. find out.
Yeah, you heard that right. The team I am up against has a bare minimum of 10k hours combined across all 4 teammates. Since 2 of the profiles were private, I couldn't get an exact estimate, but I'm going to assume that they have the same amount. At this point in writing the script, I only have 825 hours. Probably 100 more than I had when I attempted this challenge. I'm way out of my league here. We go to Coal Tower, and I get my cheeks spread farther apart than Bonnie Blue's, and get absolutely dumpstered on. To my absolute shock, this team didn't spread any toxicity my way in the in-game chat. In fact, the Sable was quite nice to me. Always nice to get some aftercare after a vicious butt-fucking like that. For the next game, we're on Midwich, the map I actually have the highest success rate on, and that trend continues here. Unfortunately, this adept is kind of dampened by this Eddie who decided he wanted to befriend the killer instead of playing the game. On any other day, I would have let him. But I'm trying for achievements here. There is no room for mercy in this dojo. This game is fairly easy, just hopping from one survivor to the next. No big brain plays happen up until the end, where I've correctly punished an unhook happening right in front of my face. I leave one survivor slugged and continue the chase on the unhooked survivor. I down her, find my slug, and secure the adept on the second try. Next is my main killer, Springtrap, the killer that got me to play Dead by Daylight. Since this is my main, you'd think this would be easy peasy, right? Well, technically, yes. I actually attempted to get Springtrap's adept back in November of last year, and actually got it on the first try. But for the sake of the challenge, I decided I would do it again. After all, I did it once, I could do it again, no problem.
Oh my
I am constantly reminded that even when I'm playing my favorite killer, I am not allowed to have any fun. I try my best here and manage a 2k. Good, but not good enough. It's also around this point that I start to get a killer headache, so I'm starting to get a little cranky. That crankiness is further compounded by getting Garden of Joy, which is the most misleading name for a map in the game. There is no garden present on this map, just this gazebo and this greenhouse, but I would hardly call this a garden. And trust me, there is no joy to be found on this map as a killer player, only pain and misery. You will loop these TNL tiles and eat every goddamn god palette there is on this map, and you will fucking like it. I again managed a 2k here. At the very least, I am getting kills, which doesn't dampen my mood further than my massive headache already has.
But if I get another horrible map, my future therapist will be able to afford a Ferrari due to how much they'll be hearing from me about this.
Yet another 2k. Let's move on. RPD East. Oddly enough, this map is another with a high success rate, with both Dracula and Plague's attempts being completed here. The game started out horribly, but during the mid-game, I ended up putting myself in a position with 2 survivors on death hook. However, these were the only 4 hooks I had, and this Renato had been giving me a lot of trouble. When I finally come across the Cheryl, I thank the high heavens that she's an easy down, meaning that if I can just get these 2 survivors killed and put either Cheryl or Renato on a hook, we're in the driver's seat. I kill one. I take a stupidly long chase that takes me down to 1 gen, but I kill the other survivor on death hook. Normally my plan for RPD is to center my pressure around the middle gens to create a 3 gen during the endgame. But at this point in time, I am tilted as fuck, and I didn't stick to that plan, so my gen spread is really awkward. What I do have going for me is that most of the pallets are gone, thanks to Endo CPU speeding up the breakup process considerably. With less resources means there are less places to run to, and that leads to the survivor's downfall. Renato and Cheryl both get hooked, but both times they get saved before I find the other one. Eventually, this Cheryl thinks that this is just an unwinnable scenario and just gives up. I decide to take this opportunity to find Renato and down him quickly. Then I stab Cheryl in the back, getting the 4k and the footage to progress this challenge. Now for the killer I was worried about the most in this challenge, Crossu. I have 0 experience with Crossu, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. All I know is that she was broken at one point, and now she kinda sucks. My practice with her over my break didn't result in much. I am horrid with her. I previously said that Blight and Nurse are my 2 worst killers. Now I honestly think it's Crossu. I load into the game and get 4 added by a TTV's 4 stack. Now I have nothing against TTVs, obviously, because I myself stream on Twitch, but whenever I see one in my lobbies, both as a killer and a survivor, I already know it's not going to be a fun time, because either them or the people they duo with all play in a super altruistic way that's just really annoying to deal with. Yeah, sure, you got your funny little clip to post on TikTok after 4 flashlight save attempts. Can you fucking get on the goddamn generator? I like winning my games. Needless to say, I am a bit miffed when I load up into Nostromo next. After a rough start, I managed to carve out a point during the mid-game where I have a solid foothold. 2 dead, and a 3rd is currently on hook. That 3rd ends up dying, which means it's a race for Hatch. One good thing about Nostromo is that the exit gates are always in the same spot. They are on either side of the giant ship at the top of the map. Crossue can patrol the gates fairly well thanks to headlong flight, but all of this does not matter if I don't find the hatch first. Every second that passes and the hatch isn't in my sight feels like an eternity, and I feel like the last survivor has already found it and is just taunting me. 20 seconds pass, and a sigh of relief exits my mouth as I hear the hum of the hatch and no survivor is in sight. I close it and play the waiting game. I haul ass back to both of the gates, but something is off. The endgame collapse timer is winding down, and none of the gates have been touched. Then, the unthinkable happens.
No. No. No.
He had a fucking... He had a key! Are you fucking serious, bro?
Oh my fucking god, I hate you guys so much.
Out of all the endgame 50-50s that I lost, this one is the one that hurt the most. Not once did I ever think about a survivor using a key to get out of a trial. The cruel twist of irony, it was this Meg that brought the key into the trial, and wouldn't you know it, she died on the hook right next to where Hatch spawned. Meaning, the key dropped right in front of the damn thing. This had to be a Swift of some sort, because I couldn't even imagine how you'd find that escape option without any communication. I was at a loss for words. This attempt truly broke me. This next game was played in complete silence. I loaded up into Dead Sands feeling the rage of 1,000 suns. A few seconds into the game, I hear an ace with scene partner. I get my first hook, Claudia unhooks right in front of my face. I'm facing these survivors who are feeling pretty cocky. I hate survivors like this, and I want to show them the ground. But good thing about hate is that it's a hell of a motivator. A 4K at 5 gens. You'd think that'd cheer me up a bit. Normally it would, but I know it's not over yet. There's one more adept left. How fitting that the killer named the First would be the last killer for this challenge. I was lucky enough to play the PTB, so I know what I'm doing a decent bit. Not to mention, I got a lot of practice with him during my break. I loaded into Thompson House, get into my first chase, and good God, do I feel my nerves go up. For the first time, despite all the trials I've gone through, I feel pressure. This is the end. The finish line is within sight. Yet the fear of getting so close only to fail at the last few moments is present. Perhaps it's because I'm streaming and I have people watching me, but I'm nervous. And that's evident within this first chase. I make mistake after mistake after mistake, and by the time I finally get the down, 3 gens pop. Honestly, I deserve that. I should have left that chase a while ago, but my nerves were telling me that if I didn't get that down, I was gonna lose. But look where that put me. 1 hook with 2 gens left? Is this another failure? No. No. I refuse. The chase is finally reaching its climax, and only now has it gotten exciting. While playing this game, I've been pushed past my breaking point time and time again, and every time I have come out stronger. With victory so close, you expect me to just give up? Hell no! I am fighting tooth and nail to the bitter end. Fuck anyone who stands in my way! Holy shit, bro. Oh my fucking god. It's over! It's over! I did it! Yeah! Fuck you! Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Oh my god, I can see her fucking cry right now. And that marks the end of the Adept Challenge. After 23 hours of streaming and 83 total games played, it's finally over. I had done it. If you want to see all the successful attempts in full, then there's a link in the description to a video containing all 41 wins. I want to thank all of you who watched me do this, whether it was live on TikTok and Twitch or reached the end of this video. Hopefully I get around to uploading more videos on YouTube, but don't expect anything grand like this ever again. This was an ambitious project that took months of production, and I can only hope that my time and effort was well rewarded. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, sub to the channel. It helps a lot. That's all for now. See ya.